I'm Tracy Williams, your host, and welcome to Bounce TV, your one-stop shop for the tools you need to build a resilient, impactful, and successful life. A show with guests who are the best in the business at winning the game of life and in sports. So get ready for transformative and powerful information in this episode. Let's go. Once again, he's back, the incredible, the incountable. What's up, y'all? This is your boy T. Allen Williams, Tracy Williams, back in the building on Bounce TV, where you can get the most for your time. Today, welcome back to episode 2 of our Bounce podcast. And just like I always say, man, the hits keep coming. Last week we had Brian Rouse, and this week, man, we just stepped it up another level. We got Coach Kevin Sutton in the building. Now, I'm normally Kevin. I'm like the intro king, man. I'm like Steve Harvey, dude. I bring you out. Kevin, you're the coach down at Florida Gulf Coast, but just to say, which is a huge accomplishment, Kevin. But this guy, y'all, it's just been around basketball royalty. He is basketball royalty. This guy's been in the top echelon of basketball programs your whole career, starting from high school all the way up now to college. Man, y'all, put your hands together. Allow me to introduce the one, the only, the incomparable, Coach Kevin Sutton. What's up, baby? We back together again, son. TWA. What's going on, Coach? How's it going today?
Oh, TW, man, it's a blessing, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show. When you called me up and said, I need you on my show, I'm coming running, baby. Just to know that your audience would love to hear what I have to say. I'm a blessed man, and to have you as a friend and a big brother, because that's what you always have been to me, and to share my knowledge and share my time with your people, your tribe, is really important to me. So I really appreciate you having me on.
Kev, man, again, like I said, much thanks, kudos. Look, guy, like I said in the intro, Kev, you've been one of those guys, like you said, really, really blessed, man. You started out in high school, man, at Flint Hill Prep. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, man, Flint Hill Prep is one of the top, most storied high school programs in America. And in other words, at the heart of what's, the great basketball tradition that's been in America. Could you start out real quick, just kind of telling us, how do you get to Flint Hill Prep? What's the mindset? What's going on? Just give it to us, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, T-Dub. You and I cut from the same cloth. We use the game of basketball to afford us the things that we've been able to accomplish in life. So it was really important for me to have the opportunity to go to college, to be that first person in my family. I have 3 older sisters, and they're all smarter than I am. But I came along during a time where in order to go to college, I had to get a college scholarship. So I started off at a public school in Falls Church, Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. And then I had the opportunity to go to Flint Hill, and it was a private school. And my dad wasn't for it, T-Dub. He was like, nah, not at all. My mom, God rest her soul, being the person that she was, she had the big picture vision. And so she sat my dad down and said, look, this is what we're going to do. If we got to rob Peter to pay Paul, we're going to rob Peter to pay Paul, to send this boy to this private school. It's going to put him in a position to go on and get a scholarship. And that's what happened. I went to Flint Hill, and it was a great experience. I played for a Hall of Fame coach, Stu Vetter. On my graduating class, all 5 of our starting 5 went on to play Division I basketball, and more importantly, those 4 other guys are successful men, right now. One of my teammates, David Atkins, worked in the NBA for the Washington Wizards, and John Sickles is doing extremely well in the hotel industry. Derek Sims went to Virginia, and now he's just killing it in the business sector. And so, I was really fortunate to go to Flint Hill. It put me on my track to go to James Madison University. And now I'm the first person in my family, Tracy, to go to college, and the first person in my family to graduate from college. And it's all because of the game of basketball. It's a global game, and it's taken a young man from Falls Church, Virginia, all the way around the world. And I'm really honored and blessed, with all the experiences that I have, and I'm interested and excited to share them with your audience.
Yeah. Hey, yo, that's what's up. Yo, man. I want to stay back there just for a second, Kev. Like I said, Flint Hill Prep, one of the top high school programs in the country. You didn't just leave prep public school and just go to Joe Baloney High School down the street.
Yeah.
The competition levels got to be crazy. The expectation levels got to be super high. I mean, mad pressure to not only, like you said, perform on the basketball court, but perform academically and, keep those grades right in line with, because what they say, if you can't pass, you can't play. Right. I mean, if you can, I know it ain't been yesterday. Tell me, how did you feel personally? I know you said your mom wanted this for you and everything. What was it like for you at that school, Dylan? Because you rose up, man, to be one of their top players, man. So you weren't just on the team. Could you kind of take us through the process of just what you were thinking about and how you were approaching your time there at Flint Hill Prep?
Yeah, I've always been a person that had a big picture vision, and I was very, very fortunate enough to have, quality people in my life. And like yourself, Tracy, when people in your neighborhood recognize that you were about something, and for me it was sports, and more particularly it was about basketball. I got a pass, man. I got a pass in the neighborhood where everybody was pouring into me, man. They was just like, hey, you got to go to that private school, and leave us here at this public school, and you need to do well. And you got to represent us. And then, if your goal is to go on and play, collegiate basketball, because I had uncles who were really talented, but they didn't have the opportunity that I had. So they poured in me. So I got a pass, and didn't get caught up in the drug game, didn't get caught up into all the negativity, because, everybody in Falls Church was rooting for me. So I just wear it as a badge of honor. And you know this to be true, T-Dub. And I say this to my young men all the time. You have an opportunity. You carry your backpack, and in your backpack, not only do you carry your books, but you carry the hopes and dreams of everybody that's rooting for you. And it can be heavy. It can be heavy. It was a pressure on me to be that first person in my family and be the first person to graduate, from school. But I threw my shoulders back, man, and I stuck my chest out. And to me, it was really, really important, and, for me to go and accomplish, not only my dreams of going on to play collegiate basketball, but, a lot of people in Falls Church, Virginia, that poured into me. So when I first went over to Flint Hill, I was just totally focused and just saying, hey, this is my opportunity. So I'm going to do everything I can, to prepare myself academically, socially, and athletically to get the most out of that experience. And I did. I was on, the first nationally ranked team in school's history. I was the captain of the team. We played in the Virgin Islands. We played against great competition in the Washington, D.C. area, down in Baltimore area. So it was just a lot of firsts, man. We just did a lot of great things. And I was really excited because my father finally figured out that this was important. And then my AAU coach, rest his soul, Reggie Kitchen, saw in me the talent and the drive and the determination. So he pushed and talked my parents into making sure I went to Flint Hill, which prepared me to go to James Madison University, and where you and I played together.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, this is you the first one on my new segment called Best Day, Worst Day. So yeah, like so when they open up the time capsule here in about 2,000 years, you're gonna be the first one. Best day at Flint Hill Prep, worst day at Flint Hill Prep.
Oh man, that's I really didn't have any bad days, TW, to be honest with you, man. I made great friends from the beginning. I think I have the personality that people kind of gravitate to. And I make people, at ease, with me. And I was always about my work, about what my determination, what my dreams, my goals were. The best day at Flint Hill was, obviously the day I graduated, from there, because it was a prestigious private school. It was a really good academic school. And I came from, being a C student at the public school, to being on the honor roll, in the private school. So just my work and my hard work, my dedication paid off. So, getting that diploma, graduating, and seeing the excitement on my parents' face, that's my best day. I wouldn't say I had any bad days, to be real honest with you, not at Flint Hill. I was there 2 years. And it was just a great time. And I made a lot of great relationships that I still maintain to this day.
Wow. All right. Let me ask you this. Okay, let's go still at Flint Hill. All right, your workouts. I mean, did you tell me a little bit about that? To become the captain, the leader of a team that's a nationally ranked team, because it's over 1 million teams, if not millions, in America. And you happen to be on a nationally ranked team. What does a regular high school workout look like, for Kevin Sutton at that time? And how much do you work out?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question, because there was a distinct when I left the public school and came over to Coach Vedder's program, at Flint Hill, because he ran his program like a college. His objective was to make sure that when we left him, that we were prepared to go to college, learn. We knew how to practice. TW, this back in the 80s, man, we were already doing strength and conditioning, and he was our strength and conditioning coach. We were already doing a running program where, for the whole month of October, because practice started in November, we were running 3 days a week, 440s, 880s, a mile run, determine your sprint groups. We were doing all that stuff. So when I got to James Madison, it was like second nature, so the workouts were, tremendous. And that's what kind of carried me over, because it helped me understand what it takes to play at the collegiate level, because that is the next level above high school. So it was high level of intensity. It was highly competitive. It was a lot of drills. We started off practice with, a positional breakdown with the guards and with the forwards and the centers, and then we moved right into, defensive segment of practice. And then, it was, transition game and all that stuff. And everything moved at a very, very fast, clip. Well, prior to that, when I was at, in my old high school, Falls Church High School, it wasn't like that. It was just, it was it was at a slower pace. The competition wasn't as high, because we didn't have, 6, 7, 8 Division I players. So you could coast in a few drills if you wanted to. But for me, it was always about respecting the game, and much like yourself, tremendous love for the game. And what I say all the time is love the game so it can love you back. So I always had respect for the game. So every time I took the floor, it was, to get better as a player and to honor the game. So. Okay.
Now, after an extremely successful high school career, you come to the great state of Virginia, James Madison University. Now I know, Kevin, you were recruited by different schools, man. That process of you deciding where you want to spend the next 4 years of your life, where you want to develop at and everything. Can you kind of tell us a little bit? Because, we got some kids out there that's the pathway they want to go on, and I'm always trying to tell them, hey, you need to know some things about how to make a great decision to make a great fit for you. tell me a little bit about your experience, and also could you tell these kids that's watching this that just how they should be approaching that whole process and how they can get the most out of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was being recruited by, I got offered scholarships to the University of Richmond, which is in the state of Virginia as well, it's in the capital, Virginia Tech, James Madison University, and Towson University. So I had, those are my four final schools. And I took a visit, and we went down to University of Richmond. We played down there, so I got to see, the campus, and I was, familiar with that. And it was much like, Flint Hill was a private school. Virginia Tech at the time was in the Metro Conference, as Tracy, and it was a big conference with Memphis, and so it was a really good, it was a really good conference. But when I took a visit to James Madison University, I went down there with my high school coach, watched practice. I just felt very comfortable, and I asked myself one question: could I see myself, being at James Madison University if the basketball doesn't work out? Could I see myself going to school there and being successful? What I wanted, and I thought long and hard about it, is I wanted to go far enough away from school where I could be independent and grow from a young man into a man. And then I wanted to be close enough where I could get home if I had to or wanted to. And so 2 hours away, it was just really easy for me to get to James Madison, and is by far the best decision that I've ever made, to go to James Madison University. Absolutely love it. Still love it to this day. It fit me in every single way. I was 2 hours from home, so I could go home and get my clothes washed and be back on campus later on. I was, if I didn't want to go home, I could stay there. And it met everything that I was looking for, academically, socially, and certainly athletically. And so that's what I would say and that's what I do say to student athletes that not only do I recruit, but when I have the opportunity to talk to them, I tell them that they have to formulate an educated decision by gathering as much information as they possibly can, and try not to make an emotional decision. Certainly don't pick a school, because of the colors. Make sure that they can see themselves there being successful. If the whatever proverbial sport that they play doesn't pan out, does their personality fit that university? So those are the things that you have to look for when you go and you're looking at a collegiate experience. And I would highly recommend visiting at least 3 schools, and then that way you can make an educated decision, which is in the best interest of you as the individual.
Yeah, I love that, Coach. I mean, especially that point that you made about if it didn't work out, because all of us want to go to the league and be Hall of Fame. At least I know I did. I couldn't even see no other way. But like you said, just being there, that's real good. That whole, if it didn't work out right, hey, is that the place where you see yourself growing as a young man or a young woman, and how it's going to, touch tomorrow, today.
Mm-hmm.
Kev, so now you moved on, into coaching now. Man, I tell you, I've watched your career from, ever since I met you, man. I've watched you, man, do coaching on the highest levels of the game. I tell people here in Australia, I say, yeah, America is the home of the NBA, but ain't nothing bigger in basketball than college basketball, nothing. And it's a bigger spectacle. The fan base is bigger. It's I don't care what LeBron and them doing. It's college basketball in America. You have, worked and worked with young men on the highest levels internationally as well as nationally. Dude, what, I mean, did you know that that's what you wanted to do when you were still at school? And if so, what was that journey like? Because I'm sure it's a lot of guys that's going to be listening to this, as well as girls. Just kind of explain what that journey was like for you, and if that was something they want to do, what would be some things that you would give them as a head start now to get ready for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always knew that I wanted to be a coach because I had great coaches in my life, growing up. My father was my first football coach, and then I had other great coaches. My AAU coach was a great coach. My high school coach was a great coach, and I watched what they did, and I watched the impact that they had, Tracy, on all of us. And I said, one day, that's what I want to be. I want to be a coach that pours into their student athletes and cares about them as people, cares about them as students, and cares about them as athletes. So I knew I wanted to get into coaching at some point. But like you, I had aspirations and dreams and hopes of playing basketball as long as I could, for as long as I could. For as long as I could, and to go as far as I could. And so when I went to James Madison University, you talk about your best day and your worst day. Well, let me just tell you, my best day and worst day was spring in May. In the spring, I'm going into my senior year when John Thurston told me, he says, listen, you have come here, you've done tremendous, and I know you want to get into coaching. And he said, I want you to join my staff, and I want to keep you on scholarship, but I want you to be on my staff instead of playing. And I was like, nah, coach, I want to keep playing. I want to play my senior year like that. And he's like, Kevin, listen, you got a great mind for basketball, and and I'm going to put you on your path. And I was like, nah, coach, I want to play. And so he said, okay, well, I want you to go home, you talk it over with your parents, because we didn't have cell phones at that time, right, T-Dub? So I had to go home and call my mom, and I said, hey, mom, she said, how'd your meeting go? I said, well, Coach Thurston wants to, take away my basketball scholarship, but he wants me to join his coaching staff. And she's like, oh, okay. Because in her mind, the only thing was that, I was still on scholarship.
Right.
And so she said, what decision did you make? I said, well, I told him I wanted to play. And she said, oh, well, I'm going to let you talk to your dad like that. So I put my father on the phone, and he said, how'd the meeting go? And I told him, TW, old school. So he said, what'd you tell that man? I said, I told him that I didn't want the coaching position. I wanted to keep playing basketball. And he said, get off this phone and go back up there and tell that man that you want that job. And so I was like, nah, Dad, I ain't doing that. And he said, well, let me just tell you this. He said, you can come back to Falls Church, but you can't live here. So okay, like that. And I got off the phone, and then I came to my senses, and I went back up there and I told John Thurston, our coach at the time, I said, Coach, I want to accept that position. And T-Dub, I've been on my path ever since then. So that was what appeared to be my worst day, because ego was in the way, became my best day, and it's put me on my path that I'm still on that path until this day. And so I say all of that because you have to take your ego and you have to set it to the side.
Right.
The game of basketball is a beautiful game, and when you love it, it'll love you back. But for all of us, our talent levels off at some point. And for me, it was at James Madison University after playing 3 years. And for you, it was after you reached your goal of playing professional basketball and playing with the Globetrotters and playing overseas. So your talent level took you, to play professionally. Maybe not to the NBA, but you still got to see the world, like you in Australia right now.
Right.
So, and the reason why Thurston knew that I wanted to be a coach is because I was commuting back and forth, coaching my high school team in summer league, and I loved it. And then I would come back on campus and I would organize the workout with my leadership abilities. Hey, we playing at 1:00 at Godwin Hall. We're playing, at Harrisonburg High. We're playing over here today. And so he saw all of that and he respected it. And I've been really fortunate enough to put me on my path of coaching. I've coached at the highest end of high school basketball, and I've coached at James Madison University, Old Dominion University, GW, George Washington University, Georgetown University, Pittsburgh, Rhode Island, and now Florida Gulf Coast. So your boy has, been around and been very fortunate in his career and to work at some really prestigious universities.
Yeah, man, dude, I didn't even know that story, man. I'm like sitting here going like, wow. Yo, big ups to Coach Thurston on that. You know, me and
Yeah.
him knock heads, but just another show. But Coach Thurston, he teaches you some great values. You know, I can think about one or two things that he taught me. He showed me some tough love when he did it. But now as a man, I look back at it in retrospect, I appreciate him for that. And I did get a chance to tell him that. And I was like, look, dude, you taught me, man. You helped me. You shaped me. And I appreciate it. And Kevin, that's the thing. A lot of people don't, it's hard for kids a lot of times to kind of understand, that, how life goes sometimes. And again, going back to that point where you said, God, I love it. But you said, I wanted to know, I want to go to a place that if this basketball don't work out, that I'm going to be glad to be here anyway. And I'm going to move on, because when I went back to JMU to finish my degree at 50 years old, one of the main things was I said, hey, I always loved this place. Like if I didn't play basketball, I would have wanted to be there. Now, you knew it. I would have told you, get out of here. If you'd have said that to me at 17, 18 years old, and that was always a thing about you. And I still think it, man, you were always more mature than us. I'm older than you, but you were ahead, just the way your demeanor, the way you carried yourself. I mean, you had leadership all over you. I saw that when you were a freshman, that you were a leader. And I mean, just you're organized, all of these things. So I'm not shocked. I'm not going to be shocked one day when you're standing on the NBA sideline or whatever. I'm going to say, well, that's Sutton. He was that guy in the beginning. So yeah, man, I love that story. I love it, man. And I think our kids are going to get a lot of that out of that. And I'm going to make sure they do, because I'm going to break it down a little bit more. And I know one of my guys, Dom, he's going to love it. He's a point guard just like you were, man. Yeah. Got, not a real big guy, but just strong, man, big heart. Mm-hmm. Kevin, I want to kind of close up here, kind of bring this thing and because, dude, to talk about all the things you've learned, I mean, how to, and everything that's, you're an amalgamation of all of these experiences that you had. And what would you say to 15-year-old Kevin Sutton that's got these hopes and these dreams and everything now?
Yeah.
And now you going back to him. You could go in that time machine and maybe leave him with 1, 2, or 3 things, that one, maybe something that, that you think now, hey, I did it, stick with that. That's the way to go. Or, what thing would you would have added to, what you would have added, like now as you think about your life, saying, what, if I'd have picked that up, if I could go back and pick something up, what would those things be, man? Because I think that would really, really be something big that our kids would need to hear.
That is probably one of the best questions that I've ever been asked. And I do get asked a lot of questions during podcasts. So Tracy, thank you so much for that question. And I say to people all the time, the quality of a person's questions will determine the depths of my answer. Yeah. So my answer, I would say to a 15-year-old Kevin Sutton is continue to stay self-aware. I've always been aware of who I am, because I still do this to this day. Tracy, tomorrow morning when I get up in the mirror, in the morning and I look myself in the mirror, I ask myself these questions, like, am I fulfilling my destiny? Am I living out my destiny? So my question to my 15-year-old self is that, continue to be self-aware, knowing who you are and whose you are, and continue to keep striving, because that's the most important thing that I did throughout, growing up, was I always had a dream, and I always had a multifaceted dream. So many times people have that one-dimensional dream, and then when they don't realize that dream, then they, that's when they start taking, and making decisions that slow them down or put them on another path. I think it's really important to have multi-dimensional dreams. I think it's really important that, we as individuals continue to strive. And I think it's really important that we continue to share and we continue to serve. And that's what I would continue to tell. That's what I tell myself to this day. And that's what I told myself then, because I was very fortunate enough, to have a praying grandmother, and I grew up in the church. And I was always rooted in the church, even at the age of 13, when I had the option not to go to church. That's when the growth and development took place, because I made some mistakes and I was able to, correct myself. So I think the biggest thing that I would tell myself is to continue to evolve as a human being, have multifaceted dreams, keep striving, keep serving, and keep sharing my knowledge, because that's all I ever wanted to do, was to do what I'm doing now. I wanted to live out my destiny, live out my passion. And my passion has always been using the platform of the game of basketball to impact lives as I possibly can, Tracy, in a positive way, to create as many living trophies as I possibly can. And you and I both have won trophies, and we've stuck them in a trophy case. But now I have a platform. My platform is Christ-centered, and my platform is the game of basketball. And so what I try to do is to be a ladle that positively pours into the young men and the young women that I serve, and listen to their hopes and listen to their dreams, and try to impact their lives as I can, as much as I can, positively, so I can create living trophies. T-Dub, and then those people that believe in me and buy into the things that I try to teach them, and they become very successful. And that gives me a great deal of pride that I know I'm living out, my destiny and my purpose, and for being a coach, and, being a human being, and being, a child of God.
Yo, wow, dude. That's what's up. Amen. Yo, Kev, listen, man, I just want to thank you, for giving us your time. I always tell these kids, your most valuable asset in life will never be your money, it'll never be your homes and all those material things. It'll be your time, because that's the only thing that we don't know how much we got. We live like we got all the time, but the reality in everybody's case at some point is that, hey, we're gonna run out. So I want to thank you, man, so much from the bottom of my heart. It's been an honor. It was an honor to play with you, man. Again, like I said, I knew from day one, I used to tell my roommate, I said, yo, son, he different, He different kind of guy, man. I just, and I've always admired you. I've always looked at you, as a way, because for me, I'm always telling kids that, look, if, you got a biological family and a logical family. The first one, you ain't had nothing to do with that. That ain't on you. The logical one, that's all your responsibility. You being judged for that. I said, and if you in a circle of people who you're the best at everything in it, get out of that circle, because you won't grow. You won't grow. And man, I'm just proud to have you in my circle. The people I can reach out to, man, when I called you, you were there. I want to know, I'm gonna ask you on air, is it all right if I give them our guys, our kids, your information? Because a lot of them, man, they like ask a lot of questions, because I make them do it mostly. I say, ask questions, and I love the quality of questions. Yeah. And is it okay if I can tell them, is that all right?
No, absolutely. I would be really upset if you did not forward my information to them. But the onus is not going to be on Tracy Williams. The onus is not going to be on Kevin Sutton. It's going to be on those individuals, because we call it, Tracy, what do we call it? We call it the rule of the 1/3. 1/3 of take that information, that opportunity to reach out to me, okay, and they're going to do it. then 1/3 of them is going to say, "Wow, I got this guy's email address. I'm gonna reach out to him," but he's never going to respond. So they're not going to take advantage of it. Then you got 1/3 of the people are going to, say, "Hey, I really want to reach out to him. I don't know what to say. You know what? I'm not even going to do it." So, I want to make sure that they understand that I am accessible. Only thing I ask for them to do is just let me know where they got my information from, whom they got it from. When they say Tracy Williams, that'll connect into this conversation, and then I know that you already pouring into them, because that's what we have to continue to do, T-Dub. We got to continue to preach the sermons, because what do we know? A good pastor preaches the same sermon every Sunday in a different way, and in the congregation leave out and say, "Pastor, preach that sermon." And it's the same thing. God loves you. God cares for you. And we have this opportunity, you and I, and we connect and we stay connected. We got to use this platform to, like I said, impact as many lives we possibly can, and create living trophies.
Good deal. Well, look, we're going to get Kevin's information up. Again, my brother, thank you. I wish you the best. You're in my prayers. God, man, anything, that I can do for you, anybody, our organization, man, we just give us a shout. We're only a shout away. Peace and blessings to you and your beautiful family. And we're going to be watching you guys this year, man. I'll be watching you, man, because you be having the fly gear on. So you always look good, dude. You always look good. So every time I'm watching on TV, I'm like, that's my boy right there when I see you on TV. So
absolutely. And I say the same thing. I say the same thing all the time, man. I am so honored and blessed to have the people in my life that have been a part of my life, and you, Tracy, have always been there, and we're going to continue to move this thing forward, because they don't realize that you are a giver of hope. And what we say, T-Dub, hope stands for help other people excel. So keep giving the people, keep be a giver of hope. Okay.
Dude, I'm your neighborhood hope dealer, baby. I'm slinging from corner to corner. I'm trying to get your whole neighborhood high on hope. And, man, again, like I said, Kevin, thank you again, man. God bless you, man. And we're going to be praying for you. And everybody, look, thank y'all for joining in on another episode of Bounce TV. We'll see you back here on the same bounce time, same bounce place. And as always, as we say when we close out at Charity Bounce, we count it off, Kevin, 1, 2, 3, and we say bounce life. So so join me right now on this, Kevin. Yeah. I'm gonna count that thing. We're gonna bring it in. 1, 2, 3. Bounce life. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you. Love you, man. Thank you.
Love you too.